Hello there. I've want to talk about Prestwick Airport this morning. Now something we sort of put right to the back of our minds sort of 10 months ago now because it just wasn't progressing for us after working on it for about 15, 16 months. But a close colleague of mine, Willie MacArthur, who lives up in Edinburgh, who was also very much connected with what we were trying to achieve up there. He sent me some very interesting newspaper articles today, actually, and yesterday, stating passenger flights at Prestwick Airport to end. Prestwick Airport chiefs today hinted at potentially dropping passenger flights because they lose money. Chief Executive Stuart Adams told MSPs a review had been launched to identify which operations at the loss-making airport were profitable and which were a real drain. The cost of passenger operations will be looked at. The passenger side of the business does not make money, states Stuart Adams. Ryanair is the South Ayrshire Airport's sole passenger operator, almost all of whose passengers are holidaying Scots, with few coming back. Its passenger total increased in the year to March by 3.5% to 702,000. That compares to Glasgow's 5.8% growth of 9.9 million in 2017. It's a very worrying situation. There's also a lot of press articles here I want to cover with you as well. But basically, it seems that they just aren't making headway. You know, something like 40 million has been invested into Prestwick Airport. But I think the money's just been squandered, quite honestly. From what I've read and gathered in the press over the months, there has been issues with management in the business. Stuart Adams is the sort of replaced the previous CEO who we met for the first time, and there's been financial director changes there as well. Mr. Miller, the chairman, has been sort of fairly vocal on the facts that he thinks Prestwick does have a future as an airport. But they haven't really got to grips with what are they doing, what's their strategy. Our plan, which I'm not going to present to you now, but our plan was all about thinking outside the box for Prestwick Airport. Yes, we were aware that passengers were going to be a tough hill to climb in terms of enticing passengers in there in the short term. So our first phase of our plan was very much looking at freight and how to capture freight opportunities at Prestwick. And we went into months and months of research and survey looking at the pantry of opportunities that lie in Scotland that can be air freighted out and what can be air freighted in. And we spoke to a number of the major carriers that specialise in freight as well as passenger, and had very interesting discussions with many of them to enhance and get that right. We also spoke to a lot of manufacturers who use air freight on a regular basis in and out of the UK, and who use the Northern Circle route for air freight as well. So there was opportunity glaring at us all the time, but it had to be developed outside the boundaries of Prestwick Airport to make it work. Now, I don't think the leadership in Scotland have really understood that clearly. They haven't got that right. They haven't picked that up. We've been referred to, we've spoken to every local politician in Scotland. We've spoken to the civil service in Scotland. We've spoken to the airport executive team. We've spoken to the South Ayrshire authorities. We've spoken to Scottish Enterprise and the SDI. And we've even spoken to various politicians and members in the House of Lords in Westminster as well. Every one of them can't take hold of the reins for Prestwick Airport. So I'm saying, well, there's no appetite to make it work. There clearly isn't an appetite to make it work, because if there was an appetite to make it work, it could work. I think there are those that also are very sceptical about Prestwick Airport these days. They feel it's just a no-goer. It's not worth investing money in as an airport. And they would be right in its current state and its current frame of mind. Absolutely. But, you know, there is an opportunity to turn Prestwick around. There is an opportunity to make it work. And the plan that we devised 2 years ago could still work because it has all the factors are there to make it work. There is a great range of products that require air freight out of Scotland, so they don't have to go in trunkers down to Heathrow or to Schiphol or other airports. There is opportunity for Scottish products in other parts of the world that haven't been reached yet, and we've done a lot of work in that. We've worked in the Philippines, we've worked in other countries in the Far East, we've worked in other countries in Africa. There are airlines that would definitely look at Prestwick Airport as a freight destination. We've identified them as well in Africa and in the Far East. When it comes to passengers, we have looked at the leisure opportunities that are attractive in airshare. We've looked at the golf opportunities, we've looked at the retail opportunities, and we've looked at combining those with other retail institutions that operate very successfully in other parts of the world with airports, and come up with a combination of a plan that would entice the golfing fraternity from around the world as well as retail therapy. So we've put a lot of effort and energy into how we believe we can make Prestwick Airport work. Now, £40 million has been put into the airport to do things like paint the fascias, relay the car parks, all kinds of things which to me are cosmetic stuff which at this point in time were not necessary to do. And I think you've probably seen some of my reports. Well, you probably haven't because they were quite a while ago now, but I did make strong emphasis on the fact that what was the point in spending money relaying new car parks when you haven't got many passengers, and it doesn't look like you're going to have any passengers for a long time. So that money was squandered in those areas. No one has given me a breakdown of what the money has been spent on, to be quite honest with you. I know it's been spent on running the airports as such, but if the airport doesn't really exist as a passenger airport, what is the money being spent on? People are being paid for standing there? Jobs are being done with no return on the jobs at all? You know, I just think, well, why aren't people, leadership, why aren't they thinking outside the box? Why aren't they thinking about how do we make this airport work? What do we go and do outside the box to make it work? I just don't understand the logic and of why it's got to this stage. If our program had been introduced timelessly at the right time, I think Prestwick Airport would be in a different position now, totally. The commitments would have been there. The government investment would be halved because there would be a lot of other money going into developing the airport. We have a large investor who was only interested in investing in Prestwick Airport if it was going to remain an airport. His concern was putting a large investment into the region, into that area, and then the airport was not going to be there. And that's what made him rather hesitant. Nobody has given us any commitments to go forward with our work. We took a year and a half out focusing on Prestwick Airport with a proposal that could have worked. Nobody took ownership. Nobody took leadership. Nobody had the desire to make it happen. So these press reports I keep on hearing now, and now I hear, yeah, well, the government, they bought it for £1, they put 40 odd million in. They're not too worried about that because the land's going to be worth more and they can always sell it to developers. whatever the case may be, for housing. But obviously it wouldn't be an airport then. Well, that's fine, but what a waste of time, and what jobs are going to get lost, and what else is going to happen in the future. I think it's gone to a stage of does anybody really care? I mean, I hear what John Scott has to say about the airport. I hear what the Liberal leader's saying about the airport. I hear what the government are saying, the local government, the Scottish government are saying about the airport. What are they doing about it? What are they doing about it? What is Mr. Miller doing about it? What is the CEO, Stuart Adams, doing about it? Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.